Well, if I'm going to be cooking dinner, I might as well be laying back some thoughts. And the thought I had as I'm making this beef curry. It's actually organic, grass-fed beef bone broth because I must be healthy. And yet, curry is not normally an Indian dish. It's not really a thing, you know? Why is that? Jewish bacon recipes, it's a very small book. And so I was thinking that there's a lot of life that really falls in that category. I think a lot of it is, it's Jewish bacon. It's beef curry. It's making it up as you go, outside of the social structures and mores and normalities. No, you're not normal. Neither am I, because normal doesn't exist. But there is a culture that we keep repeating. And we do it in different places and in different cultures where there is a transpersonal experience that's transcultural. And it is that level of connection that I wish to see nurtured in this earth throughout our people. Because we have to face it, we are a hodgepodge. Because when we focus locally within our own singular communities, when they're homogenous, we are missing the vast majority of human experience. In our school of thought and means of communication, and what we limit ourselves in terms of believing what is the truth, is much smaller than we think it is. Many of us started skydiving at small drop zones. And when you grow up in a small drop zone, you get, in most cases, very well taken care of because they have the time for you. Unless it's an overworked small drop zone, and then that's another matter. But in the drop zones where they do take care of you, I find that we have quite an interesting phenomenon of culture of care resulting in an abundance of caution, correction, an abundance of confidence. And we lose some people. We lose some femurs. Because when we go from a small drop zone to a large drop zone, or what we call a skydiving convention or skydiving boogie, often a small drop zone person doesn't have the full breadth and full understanding of the complexity of jumping with lots of other people. And they do things with their parachutes in particular that it's really antisocial. It doesn't go with the flow of traffic, and people bumping into each other under parachutes can be wildly unpredictable at best. And so it is, I think, vital that skydivers be aware that there is a larger perspective, there is more to learn. And when you're certain that your little image of the world that feels big to you, because it's all you know, when you think, well, I think I have a pretty good handle on it, what I would suggest is create a bigger boat. And if that means on a large scale, accepting other people that do things differently than you, and get in a harmonious path through your interactions where you don't just survive together, you enjoy the process, you know? You pass on human kindness. What, are you not going to say hello because their skin is the wrong color? Are you kidding me? It's your species. This is your people. And likewise, the skydivers learned again and again, each individual reports the same sort of thing. Some exceptions, but mostly skydivers come for the skydiving and they stay for the skydivers. They stay for the relationships and conversations and kinship, the long-term relationships through the ups and downs of people's lives. And it's that which reminds us that we're not alone, that we're in this together. You know, there's people who can help. We have a community within skydiving where the skydiving plumber helps the skydiving doctor, right? And he gives them a vasectomy for free. We can do these things. That was actually offered to me, by the way, but I'm not a plumber. True story. So in the meantime, loosen up, enjoy yourself, enjoy your life, enjoy the moments where you finally get to stop. I stirred recently enough so I can take a deep breath and move my body in the ways that it hasn't been moving. And wake up the whole thing. And relax. And play and move your body. Because if you really are a skydiver, if you really want to be a superhero of the low Earth orbit at altitudes, you have to be well on all matrices. You have to be happy. And that requires more than a robotic realization of a desire that is a repeater, and then the working towards the desire, and then the achievement in the moment of relief. Remember that can come in a non-conditional, polychronic, multi-location experience. Wherever you are, chill you can. I overshot the last one, I admit it. Candid moments. Sometimes I hang out in the kitchen here in silence while I'm cooking. I know that's a little weird for most of you. And with my point of awareness as being my own mind, it settles down. It settles down into the silent me from which the good stuff comes. that's true for all of us. And when you sit upon a rock by a river, when you finally stop, you can connect with the thoughts that you can only think when you're on the top of Maslow's pyramid. And when you're hanging from the gondola of the helium balloon, that moment of looking down on all of it and seeing the wheels within wheels within wheels that makes our world work. And see the oneness of it. See the togetherness of our survival that has always been. Although people can survive without each other for brief times and even lifetimes, the whole of it is what has kept so many alive. And more can be done. When we team up, when we find like-minded people, and we become part of the machine of creation that builds and grows and expands and adds people to that dream because it's authentic. Because it's actually cool, it actually makes sense, it's actually going to work, it's actually going to help. You got the wind at your back, right? If you're trying to sell rubber alligators, okay, you might do a decent business in the Vegas comedy industry, but you're not going to change the world in a way that is most impactful. And it is my wish that people ask the question within themselves again and again and again, what they as an individual have to give. What can you do for your world? What your world can do for you comes after. After you give up your individual right to rest so that you can do something worthwhile. You stand up and do something that you know is going to be a big step forward in some capacity to affect the grand state of affairs for your community, for the people around you, for the people in your immediate walkable, bikeable, drivable distance. That's your family. And you can accept that, or you can pretend like you live somewhere else and order all your stuff from Amazon. It's an option. Having tried both, I think we realized that local works better. Getting to know farmers in your area. Work out stuff with them, right? Work out arrangements where you can grow. And if you don't grow on your land because you don't have any, you grow on somebody else's land and you work it out with them. The food is there. Food that we trust. Food that we know where it came from and what went onto it and how much effort we put in to nutrifying and rejuvenating and invigorating that soil. The worm farms are gross. For those who are afraid of worms, you've got some work to do, and you might want to get somebody else to do parts of that, but that stuff, the tea that comes out, the worm tea, it really can change the world, because we've gone in this country from 6 feet of topsoil on the average coast to less than 6 inches, and it's our fault. We went right down the rivers with all the plowing. Poor land management. Greed-driven abandon of ecological sustainability. So that's where we were, and this is where we are. So let's start fixing our soil here and now. Let's find the invasive species and get them out, and let's find the native species and give them some light, give them some love, give them some room. And let's convert fields back to their natural state of affairs and let the clover take over, baby. Let's let the land heal so that we can walk in these fields with bug spray. Because what good is a garden if nobody frolics in it? Let's build it. Let's build the gardens so that we can be there. So that we can be there together to profit from our choice to, our efforts to heal ourselves by nutritional uplift. And let's get together and say thanks for this food and eat it, not just once a year. Let's take a moment, you know? You don't have to say anything. How many religions? I mean, you know, everybody has their own way. But what if people were to just stop for a moment, smile and look straight up, or look at your food, or hover your hand over the food, and say thanks, so that it's more bioavailable. Because there's water in that food, and that water takes on the memory of that thought stream, and it's legit. So if you want your food to be bumped up in its bioavailability, in addition to nutrified soil that's actually really high density in terms of its nutritional value, as long as you hydrate, you're going to be all right. We're going to be the survivors. For those who follow the path of survival, to try. To let it in that you deserve to live because you stand for love. Because you've chosen to be a good person again and again and again and again. And you've lifted yourself back up again and again and again. And every time you realized you were being your own worst enemy, you stopped. You quit it. Again and again and again. And you forgive yourself. And you forgive the fact that you have a mind, that you have an ego, that you have a stimulus response culture within you which drives you to be a stereotypical person. The great so what of grace is always available. Forgiveness is the key. It's the doorway back in. Forgiveness of self, the world, of that which controls the world, that which created the world. Again and again and again, you remember your worthiness because you did realize your mistakes and you did learn from them and you chose again to try. Try to be a mensch, a good lad, somebody that when you do what you do, someone says, good on you, mate. Be the real you. It's there waiting for you. It's the low-hanging fruit.